As you find your way to your back, keep your knees bent for a moment and wiggle right and left. Feel your low back connect to the ground. Observing what you feel here. Since you pointed it out, maybe one side is different than the other, but really feel how your spine connects to the ground, especially starting at the sacrum. And just take a moment to feel your shoulders connect into the ground too. Maybe wriggling a little bit right and left on the back of the shoulders. And then same thing with the back of the head. You can turn your head right and left for just a little. And then feel the head, center of the head. So maybe the feet even start to feel like you can feel the feet pressing into the ground. And you can rock the feet a little bit so that you're lifting toes and lifting heels. Good. And then feel your back of your arms on the ground. From this position, decide what feels best for you. You can keep your knees bent or you can stretch out your legs. You can keep your arms off to the sides or you can bring your hands to your belly. And then just begin to settle in, feeling the weight of your body on the ground. We'll find our breath here. So finding an inhale, feel the air come through the nose, inhaling through the nostrils. And then exhaling either through the nostrils or the mouth. Good. Feeling a little bit more depth to our breath, as if we could expand the bottom of our lungs. Just that part. And then exhaling as we release that part. Inhaling to expand the rib cage. And exhaling to feel the red rib cage come back to normal. Then inhaling into the top of the chest. And exhaling as the top of the chest sinks. Take 3 more rounds of breath. You can involve the lower lungs, middle, and the top. And let it all go with the exhale, but slow your exhale down. When you're ready, let your breath come back to natural. Start to hug the right knee into the chest. Give it a squeeze. Left leg can stay bent or you can extend the left leg along the ground. Whatever feels better for you. Good. Start to rock that knee back and forth, kind of finding a little right and left movement. So we're going to focus on softening the hip joint and then lengthening it and then strengthening it. So we're going to kind of just play with different sensations here today. While your knee is bent, go ahead and move your ankles, pointing and flexing the toes. And then rotate the ankle around. Now lower that right foot to the ground. Keep the knee bent so that your heel is about the same line as your hip is. And we're going to start to rock the knee out and up. So just kind of right and left movement. Just kind of feeling a little bit of loosening through that right hip joint. And then bring that right foot to the top of the left thigh. or it's the left shin, whichever feels better, and then do a right and left movement from here. So the foot on the thigh, and the left leg is extended. And we're just going to do a right and left movement here. There we go. This is different than I've normally taught. It's just something new that I've kind of picked up recently. And then take that right foot and cross it over to the left side. And then see if you can find a little rocking right and left from here. A little less range of motion usually. Now take the right leg out to the right edge of your mat, wider than your hip, and then find a rocking right and left here. So we're just finding different angles of the hips here. And since most of us are here ladies, yeah, we are all our ladies, then we can really kind of notice how the hips are feeling, because we have, you know, different shapes and different uses of our hips that we've used through our lives. And then when you're ready, go ahead and stretch out the right leg next to the left leg, give it a little shake. And then let the leg rest, and notice if your right hip feels different than your left hip. It may feel longer, it may feel looser. You may feel nothing, but I just want you to notice what's going on here. Good. And then we're going to find that same sequence with the left. So left knee bends, hug it into the chest, giving it a nice squeeze, drawing that in. You can start to rock it side to side. Yoga teaches us to connect to our bodies and to really show compassion as we discover what our bodies are feeling like each day. Go ahead and move the toes, point the toes and flex the foot. And then rotate the ankle. And that's really the main thing I really love about yoga, is that it adapts with us to each day. To each time, each day that our body is a little different or a lot different. But go ahead and bring the left foot down to the ground. And the foot is about in line with your hip, and we'll do that rocking motion here, opening to the left and then bringing it to the right. So you can think of it a little bit like windshield wiper, but we're just doing one at a time. You can bring that left foot on top of the right thigh or right shin, whichever feels better for you, and do a little rocking from there. And then take that left foot and bring it across to the right side of the leg. And then again, see if you have any range of motion there. It's probably a little more restricted here. This is just, again, a different way to reach different parts of that hip joint. Good. And then uncrossing the leg, bringing that left foot out to the edge of the mat so that it's a little wider than our hip. We can do an in and out there. Good. And then go ahead and stretch out the left leg, shake it out. And notice if the left feels a little more in line with the right side. Notice if you're balancing on their glutes, is it heavier on the right or the left? So as we bring awareness, then we can show compassion as we move through our practice today, noticing what feels good and what doesn't feel good. Good. And as you're ready, we're going to begin to make our way to seated. So you can bend your knees, roll to one side, or you can do a hug of the knees in and rock and roll back and forth. So your choice. I like the pressing to one side and then coming up to a seated position. Good. If you're sitting in a cross-legged position and you decide that it feels too much intensity in the hips, then you can sit up on a blanket. I've noticed that just by doing that work we did now, my hips already feel a little bit better without really doing too much, right? So legs can be crossed, legs can be out in a, you know, kind of half cross, or actually half butterfly pose. You can do whatever you want here. All right, take shoulders up toward the ears, inhale. Exhale, relax them. Good, inhale up. Roll them back and down with an exhale. Good, let's take 3 more. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Go at your own pace. Choose that range of motion that works for your body today. Good. We'll let the right ear rest or start to reach to the right side. And then take that chin and nod it in that diagonal, like you're saying yes, but in this diagonal shape. So you kind of find the neck and how it feels here on this side. Good. Bring the head back to neutral. And left ear toward left shoulder. Relax both shoulders. And then once you find the edge of that position, then find your nodding diagonally here. Good. Bring your head back to neutral. Look to the right. Maybe your left hand is off to the side, fingertips down. Maybe your hand reaches back a little bit. And then once we find a little bit of a twist, we can do a nod here, saying yes. Good. Bring your head back to neutral. Hand back to the left. Look to the left. Maybe the right hand reaches out or reaches back, fingertips down. And again, staying here or nodding the head in a little bit of an up and down movement. And then gently bringing the head back to neutral. Start to tuck the chin back and down. You can stay there and then take the chin and right and left. Just kind of checking in with where our neck connects to the shoulders. Sometimes we hold tension there. Chin comes to chest. If your hands are okay or shoulders are okay with clasping your hands behind your head, give that a try. If not, just keep your hands where they are. We're going to start to lift the chin, let the head drop back into the hands, open out the elbows. Good. And then with an exhale, go ahead and bring chin back to chest, elbows together. So take a couple of breaths. Inhale, lift, and exhale down. Good. Inhale up. Maybe you find a little wiggle as we go a little right and left here. Good. And then bring it back down. Good. Release the hands. Bring your head back to neutral. And then find any movement. So sometimes the circle feels good here, just drawing a big circle with the nose. Acknowledging whatever you discover here. And then reversing the direction. If you're circling one, then switch. Good. Bring your head back to neutral. Good. So, we've kept it pretty gentle so far, and it's a really good time for a water break if you need it. We'll start to move into a little bit more movement so that we can focus. First, we focused on softening joints, and then we're going to focus on lengthening them and then strengthening them. So we're going to kind of switch it up a little bit today. All right. So then coming into our cactus shape with our arms. Elbows draw back, almost as if you could squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then elbows come together. Good. So inhale, expand the chest, elbows back, exhale, round. If you want to make this a cat and cow movement, you can by lifting the chest, arching the back in our open movement, and then rounding and tucking the tailbone in our chin as we come forward. So take 2 more. Sometimes I lose count, so you all stop whenever you need to. Good. Good. And then come back to neutral. Relax the arms. Good. Soften the joint by just doing a little bit of twirling movement. And then reverse. Nice. All right, so we're back to here. So now, let's start to extend the legs out, shake them out a little bit, and just notice how it feels to sit with our legs extended. For me, this is kind of a tough pose. I feel tension through the low back, so then it's always okay to bend the knees a little bit. So we're just finding a little bit of a staff pose and observing how that feels. All right, so we're gonna start, and I've got some notes here, so I'm gonna check real quick. I had something planned here. We're gonna bring the right knee into the chest. So set the foot down on the ground, and the left leg extends, but add a bend if you need to, okay? So we're gonna start by twisting to the right. So take your left hand to the right knee and start to turn your body to the right, and maybe even take your right hand behind you. So kind of noticing how this feels. We're just taking a few breaths here, and then coming back to center. And let's take right elbow on the inside of that right leg and twist to the left instead. So now your left hand might come behind you. We're going to try to keep that knee up and in. It takes a little bit of effort here. Good, and then come back to center. We're going to open that right knee out like tree pose. And then start to find a forward fold. So bend your, start to hinge at your hips and bring your belly a little closer to your thigh. So you can have your hands alongside. You can hold to whatever part of the leg. Some of you can reach your toes. It's not important. But we're kind of now finding the length across the hamstring, the back of the leg. Can you reach that hip back a little bit? Feel the length across the entire back of your spine. Good, and then slowly coming back up. Good, right knee comes in, and then stretch out the leg. Good, shake it out. You can do a little bit of windshield wiper movement here. I'm hoping that my dog behaves herself today. Sometimes she acts up. All right, right leg extend, left knee bent. Good. So we'll first find a twist toward the leg by taking that right hand to the left, and then left arm around. As we look to the left, you can wrap your entire arm or just hold on to the knee, and then look over to the left side. Unwind to come back to center. And we're going to find the twist the opposite direction. So left elbow comes on the inside. The knee's actually pressing in. And we start to turn to the right. Maybe let our right hand come behind us. Good. And then back through center. So we can think of this as a stretch, but in a way we're really working through the strength of the inside of the thigh when we do that. All right, open the leg out to the side. Think about tree pose. Good, right foot presses out. Right hip reaches back. And then finding a little forward fold here. You can bring your hand, keep your hands on the ground. You can walk towards your ankles or hold your foot. And again, focusing on the length and noticing any sensations you feel in that low back sacrum area.
If it's painful, you know to back off, or maybe even squeeze your glutes and draw the belly in a little bit more. Use your core to do more of the work. Good. When you're ready to come up, slowly come back up. Good. And we'll shake out that leg. Make up both legs. Shake out. And then if it feels good, we can just add a little lift in our chest using our hands to help press ourselves up. Good. Nice. Now, adding, and I can't remember, is everybody okay with being on hands and knees for a little bit? All right. If not, I'll give you some options. So we're going to move to hands and knees in tabletop. And if you need some padding, add some blanket under your knees. And if your wrists get tired, you can always use fists, fingertips, or elbows down, okay? So your choice. We're gonna find our tabletop first. Wrists are right beneath the shoulders, spread the fingers wide. Knees are right beneath the hips. Draw that belly up so that we're keeping a long spine, but we're using our core here. Relax the belly, take the chest forward. So we're gonna find our cow pose, look forward. And then exhale as we round and push away from the mat as we tuck our chin and our tailbone down. Find your movement, inhaling through the cow pose and exhaling through the cat. Feel free to start to reach back in your cat pose and shift forward in your cow. And we're going to take one more of those. And then you're going to pick which one you like the best. If you like cat or cow, hold it for a little bit and find a little bit of wiggle in that. You might go side to side, you might reach back. So pick whichever one you like, and you can just move through that pose. Good. And then come back to neutral. Find our neutral spine. If you need to sit back for a moment to take the pressure off the wrists and shake out the wrists, you can. Okay? So you can come off of them for a bit. Yeah, child's pose is a great choice. I saw a lot of you doing that. Good. Coming back to our tabletop. We're going to take right leg back, push the toes into the ground, and press back through the heel. So feel the length at the back of your leg, but lift the top of your thigh and lift your belly. So we're finding length and strength at the same time. Good. Then lift that right leg so it's parallel to the ground. Press back with your foot as if you were stepping on a wall behind you. So length and strength at the same time. If you're feeling stable, then left hand lifts and palm turns in. So length from fingertip to heel, strength through the glutes and the core. Finding our spinal balance pose. Good. Bring it back down. Take your right leg over to the left side, so cross it behind you and walk your hands over to the left, finding a little crescent position, a little bit of a side bend through that right side of the body. Good. Then come back to center and find your child's pose. So you can bring your hands off to the side, or you can have your elbows down and just give ourselves a little break here. Good. If you hear snoring, that's my dog. Sorry about that, but Lulu's comfortable here. Good. Come back up to our tabletop. So we're going to take other side. So left leg reaches back, press the toes into the ground, push back through the heel. If that feels good, you can hold it or you can rock back and forth. And then lifting that left leg, reach the heel back behind you. Maybe you're looking down between your hands or slightly forward. And then if you feel stable, left arm reaches forward. Right arm reaches forward. Sorry, opposite arm. Bring it down when you're ready. We're going to take the left leg and reach it across behind the right side. You can walk your hands over to the right side. Nice big side stretch here. And coming back to center, and again, child's pose, just to give our wrists a little bit of a break. We can circle out the wrists. Good. And then coming up to hands and knees. This time we're going to start to work towards our downward facing dog. So hands go just a little further forward than they were in tabletop. Tuck the toes. And remember length. So knees come off the ground. And then the belly presses back toward the thighs. So we really lengthen the back. Then start to lift the hips. You may not come all the way straight to the back of the legs. Your heels may not reach the ground, but you can start to press them to the ground. So just take a few breaths here, and anytime you've had enough, just bring your knees back down to the ground. When you're ready, we're going to walk the feet toward the hands, or the hands toward the feet, and find our forward fold. Bend your knees enough so that the belly rests on the thighs. Head hangs down. If you think about rotating your thighs inward, that will help you lift your hips. So you find a little more length across the back of the legs. If you bend your knees, you might find more length in each vertebrae between the spine, in the spine. So you can kind of play with that movement. Good, and then to come up, we're going to bend the knees, bring the hands to the hips, and then just very slowly press yourselves up to standing. Good, we made it. Woohoo! It's a good time to take a water break, adjust your camera angle. I want to talk a lot about that forward fold. For some people it feels wonderful, for some people it's really tough, depending on how your hamstrings feel and how your back feels. So a couple of things about forward fold. If we think about rotating the thighs in towards each other, it lifts the hips, okay? But the important thing is that when we first come into it, a nice bend in the knees until we actually feel our belly touching our thighs is more important than how straight your legs are. Then you can start to lift the hips from there, depending on your hamstrings. Rotate the thighs in towards each other, and you'll find a more length across the back of the legs. There's no goal here. We're not trying to get flat folded over because it may not be possible. Good. And then if you bend your knees again, you'll find ease across the back of those thighs. And that also may low back, okay? So then if you lift your hips, let your head hang, think about your whole spine becoming longer toward the ground. You could even reach for your opposite elbow and use the weight of your arms to draw that spine even longer. Good. And then we'll slowly come back out of this again. Bend the knees, bring the hands to the hips, long spine, and then slowly come back up. Good. So, I used to watch people that could do a forward fold where their hands were completely flat and they were completely folded in half, thinking that one day I would be there. Well, it's never happened for me. And it's not important that it does. What we do is we want to find the length and the strength in the back of our body for that. All right, let's find our mountain pose. Feel our feet connecting to the ground. Good. Finding our posture. Good. Length of our spine all the way up to the crown of our head. And let's take our half sun salutations. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Good. Inhale, arms reach up. And exhale, float back down. Good. We'll add a little bit. Inhale, reach up. Good. Exhale, hands to heart. Good. Inhale as we reach up. Take a right hand to the right as we lean and reach over to that right side. Finding our side bend here and back up to center. And then over to the left side. Inhale, back up. Lift your heart, maybe even finding a little bit of a back bend as we look up here. Good. And then bring that spine back to neutral, swan dive. So we're going to bring those arms out, bend the knees, fold into our forward fold again. Find that forward fold that works for you. Good. From our forward fold, inhale to come up halfway. Place your hands on your shins or your thighs to find that long spine. Exhale back down to forward fold. Good. Bend your knees, sweep the arms out, reverse our swan dive, coming all the way up, upward salute, and hands to heart. Beautiful. Let's do that again. So this time I'm going to go just a little faster. Inhale up. Okay, and this time we're going to go straight to swan dive. Forward fold. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse our swan dive. Lift your heart. Hands to heart. Good. All right, pausing here. Let your shoulders relax. Feel the center of your body. Thinking about the strength and the length of your body. Gently open the eyes, release your arms. Take your feet wider and allow yourself to swing side to side. Good. All right, coming back to center. So on this next round, I'm going to walk us through the entire sun salutation. Any point it's too much for you, just take a rest, okay? So I'm going to walk us through. We're going to go through it slowly. And if you reach a point too much for you, you can either move to child's pose or just come up to standing, any variation you like, okay? So it may be helpful. No, just discover as you go, okay? So I'm not gonna tell you to anticipate anything. So we're gonna start at the top of the mat in our mountain pose. Good. Inhale, arms sweep up. Good. Exhale, swan dive to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees enough to plant your hands on the ground and then step your legs back into plank pose. You can keep the knees down if it's too much, right? So we can reach back into our plank pose, pushing away from the mat, and then lower the knees to the ground. Bend your elbows, start to lower your whole body to the ground. Again, hips might come down first till we're on the face down. Good. Inhale, lift your chest, walking your hands back toward your rib cage into baby cobra. And exhale, bring it back down. Let's try that again. Inhale to baby cobra, maybe higher cobra if your arms are up to it, and exhale back down. Good. One more. Inhale, baby, higher cobra, and back down. Good. Come to tabletop, hands and knees. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Take 3 rounds of breath if you can. If not, take a rest, bring the knees down in child's pose. Good. When you're ready, come up on the toes, forward, walk towards your hands. Flying forward fold. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse our swan dive, coming all the way up. Lifting the hearts, lifting our gaze and our spirits, and exhale, hands to heart. Beautiful. Good. Pause here, noticing how it feels. Simply to have moved through all of that different movements. Good. And then release the hands down. Nice job. Downward, that Sun Salutation can be pretty tricky in certain spots. Everybody has different spots. Mine is that chaturanga. The plank to here, that's really tough for me. I'm still working at that. I've got shoulder stuff, right? All right. Let's move so that you are now taking the long edge of your mat into our warrior two. So we're going to fight a long stance, wide stance with our toes facing forward. Good. And turning the right toes out and bending the right knee. Feel the firmness of this position. Thighs drawing towards each other, feet pressing down into the ground. Then the length of our spine. So we're taking our warrior two with the right foot out. Good. Good. Reach out, palms down, relax your shoulders. Now what happens if you turn your palms forward? Does it feel different? It's just different, right? It's just kind of a different way to do it. So we're going to reverse our warrior, take that right arm up, left hand to the thigh. Find our peaceful warrior here. And then back to warrior two. Good. Then we can find our side angle, right elbow to the thigh, left arm overhead. Good. And let's do that again. Reverse our peaceful warrior. Reverse to our peaceful warrior. And then side angle. Good. Last one, option to take your left hand and bind it behind you, wrapping it behind you. Left arm. Good. And then last variation in our side angle, option to walk the hand down toward the ground, finding just a little further reach. Good. Inhale back to warrior two. Straighten the right leg. Reach the left hip out. Good. And then side triangle pose here. So we're just keeping our hands wherever. For me, it's helpful to put it on the shin. Left arm reaches up and look up. Or look down if that feels better for the neck. Good. Inhale back to warrior. Bring your arms up, bend the knee. Good. Arms relax. Turn the toes forward. Nice. Phew, it's a pretty big sequence there. So from our wide stance, we can take a little forward fold with our legs wide. So hands on hips, you can keep a good bend in the knees. And then you can reach your hands towards your ankles or your shins, maybe the ground. Think about what we learned in the first forward fold. Can you rotate your thighs towards each other as the hips lift a little higher? And can you let your spine lengthen down a little more? Making this as relaxed or as active as you'd like it to be. To come out of this, we'll bring the hands back to the hips. Bend a little bend in the knees as we lengthen the spine and come up slowly. Good. Now move to the left. So left toes turn out, left knee bends. Get strong, get sturdy from the waist down. Press down into the ground, but then lift the spine. Arms reach out. This time we're going to try to take our palms forward. Good. Now looking to the left, we're going to take and lift that left arm right to our reverse warrior. And then come back to warrior two. Left elbow on left thigh. Right arm overhead into our side angle. Length all the way from our fingertips to our heel. Inhale back to warrior two. And then up through our peaceful warrior. Good. And then over into our side angle. You can kind of skip right through it. On this last one, the option to wrap your right arm behind you for a deeper shoulder movement. And maybe take an extra breath here. Good. And then on the left side angle, the option to start to bring the hand down a little further. Some of you can touch the ground, I cannot, so I'm just going to keep my hands somewhere close to the ground. Good. Inhale back up. Straighten that left leg. Reach the right hip back. As we reach out with that left hand, the hand can either come to the shin. Some of you can reach your ankle or the ground, finding your triangle pose. Think about that right hip and what it's feeling here. Good. Look down. Slowly come back up. Release the arms, turn the toes forward. Nice forward fold again. This time, if you'd like, you can start to walk the hands back behind you as if you were trying to bring your head to the ground. And then we'll bring your hands back to the hips, slowly come back up. We've been in this position for quite a while, so it probably feels good now to walk the heel toe the feet in and let that go. Whew, so a little march, a little shake, whatever you need here. So just by holding this pose, we're really working on not just lengthening our hips, but strengthening our hips. And so you can let it go now. Do some swings. That's a good one, Ida. That's always a good one. And finally, before we make our way down, we're going to play with our balance here. I'm going to show you something a little different I took in a class today. We're not going to get too complicated though, because this one was really complicated. I'm just going to take one piece of it. So first, feel the center of your body. So feel your feet attached to the ground, and then take some time until you feel that you are even, right to left, front to back. Good. Then shift your weight into your right foot. Lift. You might keep the left toe down on the ground. If you can lift the leg, lift the leg. Try to keep that left hip down, right? So here is the easiest one. Toe down. Knee lifted. It becomes harder. Right hand to left knee. Whoops. See, I can't even do it. You might need a wall or a chair. And then bring it down. That one was tough. And she had us do try. I couldn't do it. She had us try to reach our foot and then do that. I couldn't do it. Anyway, it's just something to try. All right. I know, it's tricky, huh? All right, back to our mountain pose. Good, so keep your brain right here. Try not to anticipate what's going to happen. Good, shift your weight to the left foot. Right knee bends. You can stay up on the toe. Try to keep that right hip down. So here is perfectly fine. But if you want more challenge, then the knee comes up higher. If you want more challenge, left hand to right knee. Maybe beginning to turn to the right into a little bit of a twist. And then releasing the twist, setting the foot down. Yay! Whew, that side was easier for me. I don't know, we have an easier side. Okay, we're gonna make our way to seated. If you wanna do it through a squat, you can. You can take your feet wider, start to sink your hips down. If this is too much for your knees, then just have a seat. We're just gonna sink as low as we can. Good. And then when you're ready, go ahead and have a seat. Nice job. Changing your angle, grabbing some water if you want to. So we can find a cobbler's pose or a butterfly position here. Good. Maybe find a little forward fold, just letting ourselves, and you can take your feet further away from you, finding more of a diamond position if that feels better. Starting to release some of that work that we just did. We build tension in our body in a good way, and then we still want to release the sense of being too tense. Head relaxes. Maybe you're even gently shaking the head yes and no. Good. And slowly coming back up. We'll play with one variation of our boat pose. So keep your left leg where it is. Use your right hand to lift your right leg. So the leg can stay bent, or you can reach for your foot. Sit up nice and tall, and then see if you can maybe straighten that right leg. Doesn't have to be all the way. And notice that try not to round your spine, keep your spine lifted. Good. And you can hold on your ankle if that's easier. Nice job. I know I'm leaning, so I'm going to try and straighten it up a little bit. Good. Then bend the knee and release. Good. So we'll switch. Right foot stays where it is. Left leg lifts. You're either holding your ankle, your shin, or your foot. Start to take that leg out. Try to stay upright. Use your core. Good. Bend. Bring it down. Now, we did one leg at a time, but see what happens if we can actually balance on our sits bones, keeping that butterfly pose, but lifting the feet off the ground. Good, so you can stay here. You can start to extend both legs. Whoa. I've got a wall behind me. I'm a little bit cheating. Yeah. It's a lot of core work that happens here. Good. When you're ready, bring the heels down, the feet down, and then just fall into your cobbler's butterfly pose again. Good. Slowly roll back up. We're going to begin to make our way down to the ground again. So just let yourself come all the way down to the spine. Take a rest here. You can stretch out the legs. Take your time. You can shake out the legs here. We've done a lot of work through the hips today. All right, and finding a twist. Let's take the knees into the chest. Hug them in, rock side to side. And then keeping the knees to center, arms just come out to the sides, palms out into a T shape. And let the knees now drift over to the right side. Making any adjustments that you need to make this more comfortable. So with the spine twisting in this direction, if you look to the left, you complete the twist in the neck, but only if your neck is okay with that movement. Take 3 rounds of breath. Each exhale, try to sink and release any gripping. As you're ready to come back up, bring your head back to neutral, and then both knees come back to center. It's okay if you need to do one knee at a time. Good.
Go ahead and set your feet on the ground. Before we come to the other side, set your feet on the ground so that your heels are in line with your hip bones. And then if you'd like, roll the hips up, coming into a little half bridge or all the way up. So feet down, hips up. Yeah. Now really think about lengthening your knees away from you and using your glutes to lift, or let your glutes soften and use more of your thigh muscles to do it. So you can play with both of those. Good, and roll it back down. Good. Knees to chest. Arms back out in a T, palms up. And then lower the knees over to the left side. So we're finding twist on this side. And if it's comfortable, you can turn your head to the right. Thinking again, not only are we in a twisted position, but if you let your hip reach away from you, you're going to still think about trying to lengthen the side of your body. Take 2 more rounds of breath. And bring your head back to neutral. And just a little at a time, bring the knees back to center. Set your feet on the ground. If you'd like to try different variations of the twist, you can take your feet a little wider and turn your toes out diagonally and then lift up into your twist. Lift up into your bridge pose. And maybe you only do it for 1 breath. Or maybe you hold it for 3 breaths. It's up to you. Good. Lowering down when you're ready. Just try to roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. Good. Knees to chest. Give them a nice hug. Start to separate your knees, making them a little wider. And then if you'd like to find happy baby, you can reach for your ankles or your edges of your feet as you press your feet up toward the sky. Draw your knees down towards your armpits. You can rock side to side. So just play with this movement. Whatever feels good. If you have a different movement you'd rather do, it's fine. Sending love to our legs, our hips, our ankles, our body for the work that it does for us every day and even in our practice today. Good. Soles of the feet come together into butterfly pose and we lower the feet down to the ground, finding a reclined butterfly cobbler's pose. Good. Arms can be out to the sides. You can take your arms overhead, bending the elbows. Letting the fingertips touch. Good. And then relaxing your arms, drawing your knees back together. Give yourself a minute or 2 to do anything that your body needs. If you're ready for Shavasana, go to Shavasana. If you want to try anything else, feel free to take a moment, whether the legs reach up to the air or any variation. You can just choose anything. Such nice variations I'm seeing here. It's really good choices. Reclined pigeon, cloud pose, lots of things you can do. And then whenever you're ready, whenever you feel complete with whatever you're doing right now, make your way to Shavasana. Shavasana can be legs bent. It can be legs bent with the knees knocked in towards each other. It could be legs stretched out. Whatever you feel is more comfortable for your body. Let your shoulders come underneath you. Take a deep breath through the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. Letting go of action and instead just being. Time to stop the doing and just be. Let your body become heavy. But the breath moves easily on its own. You can let your face relax. The mind stays present with this very moment. Feel free to stay in Shavasana as long as you'd like. If you're ready to get a little bit of movement, you can start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. Rock your head side to side. Taking a deeper breath, allow yourself to stretch any way you'd like. Giving yourself plenty of time to transition from our Shavasana, our final relaxation, to coming back to motion again. Maybe you bend your knees, maybe you hug your knees back to the chest again. If you'd like, you can start to roll to one side, find your fetal pose. And then just very slowly, mindfully making your way back to our easy sit position. No hurry at all. Good. Noticing our sits bones beneath us again. The way we started, but maybe it feels just a little different now that we have practiced together. Let's take a deep breath again through the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. Good. Holding our palms up in a gesture of giving and receiving. So we can receive this way, we can give this way. Good. And then bringing our hands together in front of the heart to seal our intentions, our practice, all of the goodness that we've created during this practice together. So I'm very grateful for you joining me today. May you have a beautiful day and enjoy the weather that we're having, since you all are here locally in Florida. Stay cool, stay positive. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste.
Thanks, everybody.